On her first day as a second-year student at the Tristain Academy for Magicians, Louise de la Villière enters a magical world called Halkeginia. Her teacher asks her to perform a simple spell, turn pebbles into brass. Despite her peers calling her zero, the room explodes as soon as she casts the spell. Despite coming from a family of famous magicians, Louise has a 0% success rate when it comes to casting spells. Kirsche summons a fire salamander on the day of the traditional summoning ceremony. It summons a large mole named Verdandi, but Louise summons a human named Saito Hiraga from Tokyo, who is unable to comprehend what Louise is saying. Louise is disappointed, but she is unable to break the ritual's tradition, so she kisses Saito, and runes appear on his left hand. Louise uses a silent spell to silence him, but it backfires, allowing Saito to speak and understand Louise's language. Saito believes he has been kidnapped until he notices the two moons in the sky and realizes he has been transported to another world. Saito now has to deal with being Louise's personal assistant, and he is frequently whipped for disobedience. Saito dresses Louise in the morning before they go to breakfast, where Saito only gets a piece of bread and meets Siesta, a kind maid. Saito, dissatisfied with Noble's arrogance, mocks Kirsche's two-timing nature, prompting Gitch to challenge him to a duel. Saito refuses to give up, despite being severely beaten by Gitch's summoned brass golem. Impressed, Gitch throws him a sword to give him a chance. When Saito touches the sword, the runes etched on his hand begin to glow, enhancing his strength and speed, as well as giving him sword skills, and he easily defeats Gitch. After the fight, however, he collapses from exhaustion. Mr. Colbert and Mr. Osmond, the headmaster, believe Saito is a legendary familiar after defeating Gitch. Saito gained popularity among commoners and nobles. Siesta and the commoners secretly feed Saito, while Louise withholds food as his new punishment. His name is changed to Zero. Kirsche, a German noble, has chosen him as her next boyfriend. She tries to seduce him, but Louise discovers it. Louise drags Saito to town to buy him a sword. Louise's gift is matched by Kirsche's gift, causing more friction between Saito and Louise. Louise's sword turns out to be Derflinger, the talking sword. Osmond continues to harass Longueville. Count Mott forces Siesta to be his mistress. Saito, disgusted by Noble's disregard for commoners, tries to save her. They make a deal where Count Mott asks for a particular family heirloom book from a Germania family, which happens to be Kirsche's family. In response, Kirsche suggests he dates Saito. Saito tries to fight Count Mott with Kirsche's expensive sword, but the runes don't work because it's an ornamental sword, and he struggles to lift it. Louise and the others arrive just in time to save Saito. In exchange for Siesta's freedom and forgiving Sato's offense, Kirsche gives Count Mott the book. Saito catches a glimpse of the heirloom book and discovers it is an old Japanese porn magazine. After they return to the academy, Siesta thanks Saito with a cheek kiss. Louise is depressed about the upcoming exhibition of new familiars. Also, this year, the Princess of Tristan will be present, which makes the event even more important. As night falls, Saito becomes desperate to perform a commendable act. Princess Henrietta appears in Louise's room and explains that she and Louise are childhood friends. Louise drags Saito off stage the next day after a weak sword-swinging demonstration. They see Falk, the sculptor, use an earth golem to break into the school's treasure vault. Louise uses her magic to stop her, but her blast misses the golem and hits the tower wall, allowing access to the vault. Tabitha and her dragon Sophie arrive too late to stop Falk from stealing the fabled Staff of Destruction. For fear of being blamed for Falk's theft, Louise offers to go after her. Kirsche and Tabitha also help. They are escorted by Longueville to the last sighting of Falk. Tabitha finds the Staff of Destruction hidden in an empty house with Kirsche and Saito outside. Louise uses spells to fight the golem but fails. Saito rushes in to save her, as she is crushed. Louise sobs, her confidence shattered, as Siesta rescues the noble. Saito is moved and attacks the golem. The golem breaks Kirsche's sword, Derflinger. Saito rediscovers Derflinger, his runes glowing. He can slash the golem's legs, but they regenerate. Louise tries to help with the Staff of Destruction, which Saito recognizes as an M72 rocket launcher, and destroys it with his rune-enabled abilities. Longueville then claims the staff and reveals herself to be Falk all along. She created the scenario to learn the staff. She uses the staff to kill the students, but the rocket launchers are single-use weapons. Saito beats Falk. A man from another world used one of two staffs to save Osmond 30 years prior. Osmond buried the man and kept the rest of the staff. The school throws a party. Louise thanks Saito for saving her by dancing. Louise has captured Falk. Henrietta says she extends her hand to Saito, but he misunderstands and kisses her. Henrietta assigns Louise and Saito to go undercover to see if nobles are exploiting commoners. Louise foolishly loses all their money in a casino, where she expected to win more, refusing to ask Henrietta for more money. Saito and Louise find work at Scarron and Jessica's charming fairy inn as a dishwasher. Saito is in close contact with Jessica, much to Louise's chagrin. Scarron rewards the waitresses who receive the most tips with a large bonus and the chance to dress up as a maid. Louise's temper prevents her from earning tips until an arrogant noble enters. The noble leaves a large bribe for Louise, allowing her to win the contest. They have to leave now, but Louise dresses up as a maid just for him. Summer vacation means many students are returning home. Kirsha follows Tabitha home. Louise and Saito are finally alone. Tabitha's real name is Charlotte, Princess of Gallia, and she has a tragic past involving her mother drinking a psychoactive potion. Montmorency, enraged that Gitch has been flirting with other girls, makes an aphrodisiac and slips it into Kirsha's drink. Saito transforms a large cooking pot destined for the trash into a Japanese-style hot tub. At night, Siesta joins Saito in the tub, much to his embarrassment. Louise sees them together and becomes enraged, interrupting Gitch and Montmorency accidentally drinking the love potion. Louise is flustered when Saito returns to her room and falls in love with him. Louise's lovey-dovey behavior towards Saito freaks him out. Saito begs Montmorency to create an antidote, but she refuses until he blackmails her. She finds the antidote. Montmorency and Gitch lead Saito and Louise to Lagdorian Lake, where they meet the water spirit who is flooding the land to search for her stolen treasure but is being hindered by magic users. Saito and Gitch fight the intruders who turn out to be Kirsha and Tabitha. Saito swears to find the water spirit's lost items, and he is given the antidote by the spirit of Gandalfor, the love potion's caretaker. Louise and Saito have a new mission. Princess Henrietta will marry the Emperor of Germania to strengthen her country's alliance. Without a letter from Henrietta to Prince Wales of Albion, the wedding will be cancelled. Albion is in a state of civil war, so the princess cannot see the prince. Gitch overhears the conversation and offers to help Henrietta, much to Louise and Sato's chagrin. Ward's captain of the Griffin squadron arrives the day before they leave. Louise's fiancé, he makes Saito jealous. In the end, Derflinger tells Saito that only Gandalfers can wield Derflinger. Ward proposes to Louise and then challenges Saito to a duel. Ward easily wins, leaving Saito depressed. Louise and Ward board the ship that evening after he persuades her that the boys have returned home. Louise accepts his proposal after he persists in his courtship. The sudden appearance of Falk and her golem has, in fact, caused Gitch and Saito to be delayed. Kirsha and Tabitha, who appeared on Sylphid, save them. Saito discovers that Ward and Falk were working together, putting Louise in danger. Ward and Louise arrive on the floating continent of Albion, where they meet Prince Wales. Louise delivers the letter, then Wales gives her a reply letter that she is supposed to retrieve, and she learns of the power behind the Reconquista, an uprising of nobles in Albion. With their mission ostensibly completed, Ward insists on marrying them in Albion. He reveals himself to be a Reconquista member and a threat to Wales. Louise tries to refuse, but one of Ward's allies, Cromwell, arrives with the stolen water spirit's ring and uses mind control to force her to consent. When Saito bursts into the church and snaps Louise out of her trance, the wedding is ruined. Ward kills Wales and attempts to kill Saito. However, Saito is enraged by Ward's treatment of Louise, and he is able to fully utilize Derflinger and his abilities as a Gandalf. Ward's magic is defeated, and he flees. Tabitha and the others save the two of them, and Sylphid flies everyone home. Saito kisses Louise while holding her in his arms. The princess's wedding is cancelled after Louise informs Henrietta of Wales' death. Osmond is also warned about the Reconquista by Louise. Then, Osmond tells her about Gandalf and void magic. Saito accompanies Siesta to her home village of Taubes to find a dragon. After another argument with Louise, following them, Louise and others discover the rare dragon that Siesta's family has kept as an heirloom. Saito comes across a tombstone with a Japanese epitaph, and a 6M0 fighter, a Japanese aircraft, is revealed to be the dragon. It is revealed that Siesta's great-grandfather was a World War II IJN pilot who, like Saito, was magically transported to Halkeginia. Colbert explains that during a solar eclipse, 2 dragons flew, but one vanished. He claims that the second pilot's timing was off and that the solar eclipse ended before he could fly through the portal. Albion declares war on Tristane. As they return to school, intending to use the country as a base from which to conquer the rest of the continent, they plan to attack in 3 days during the next solar eclipse. When Saito tells Louise that he wants to return home during the upcoming solar eclipse, she acts as if she doesn't care, which enrages him. Albion and Tristane are rumored to be on the verge of a war. Henrietta gathers a military force and conscripts the Academy's boys. When Louise walks in on a sleeping Saito, she says her goodbyes. Saito wakes up the next morning to find a letter written by Louise: "You've been fired. You are free to go wherever you want." Louise makes the decision to fight alongside the princess in the war. Henrietta advances with the Tristane military to intercept the invading Albion force at the village of Taubes, while Saito gets in his Zero fighter. Saito attacks Albion's dragon squadrons, who are unable to keep up with the plane's speed. Rather than flying straight into the eclipse, when Sato's bullets run out, he is attacked by Ward, who is riding a wind dragon from Sylphid to Sato's plane. Louise leaps, Falk's golem is broken down by Tabitha, Kirsha, and Gitch, and Falk flees for good. Louise finally connects with Saito and unlocks her void magic for the first time, casting the powerful spell Explosion, which destroys Albion's entire aerial force. After the battle with the solar eclipse behind them and the Zero fighter on the verge of being destroyed, Saito and Louise sit by the wreckage and have another argument before kissing. Cromwell tries to use the Ring of Anvari to hypnotize Kirsha and Tabitha, but Gitch knocks him out. Henrietta later bestows medals on the 4 aristocrats, and Tabitha is given the Water Spirit's ring in exchange for her promise to return it. Louise is overjoyed with her medal and rushes to show it to Saito, only to discover him conversing with Siesta. Louise, in typical Louise fashion,